to success for small businesses in India lies in opportunity and leveraging that opportunity through technology. A critical factor in India's economic growth, small businesses contribute generously to industrial output, exports, and job creation. But are they fully aware how technological interventions can help boost their business? Everything from using the best hardware in their laptops and PCs to deploying latest software solutions, small businesses are increasingly adopting latest technologies to grow their networks and achieve better results. IT is being used in daily operations of small businesses across all departmental functions, including sales, marketing, operations, finance, and customer support. It's time to showcase how this paradigm shift is taking place. CNBC TV18 and Intel present Boost Your Business.
The small and medium enterprise sector is the engine of any economy around the globe. In India, the SME sector employs almost 100 million people, accounts for 45% of the country's manufacturing output and over 40% of our exports. In fact, Indian SMEs are expected to contribute about 22% to the GDP by 2020. In recent years, technology adoption has been a key growth driver for SMEs, even though it has been a tad slow in many pockets. So how does a small business use technology to scale up and increase efficiencies? Can the power of SMAC, that's social, mobile, analytics and cloud, be harnessed to give the SME sector a giant boost? And how critical is something as basic as a personal computer for a small enterprise? Hello and welcome to CNBC TV18 and Intel present Boost Your Business, the show that will answer all of those questions and more. Let's welcome the eminent panel of experts joining me at our Noida studios today. Jagdish Khattar, founder of Carnation Auto; Prakash Malya, Managing Director, Sales and Marketing at Intel India; Hemendra Mathur, Venture Partner, Bharat Innovation Fund; Vinod Kumar, President of the India SME Forum; and Pritesh Prabhakar Patil, Country Head of Marg ERP. Welcome, gentlemen. Thank you for joining us on Boost Your Business today. Vinod, let me begin by asking you to do some context setting for us. When you look at the Indian SME sector, how would you rate it in terms of technology adoption, both on speed and scale?
We still have a lot of SMEs in India which are very, very progressive. A recent survey that we conducted told us that almost 42% of Indians, even today, do not have a website. And most of them are not even on, I would say, our network internally, or do not have enough resources to even have a small CRM for knowing which customers they sold to and from where they can expect repeat orders. So if that gives you a little idea, that's how the SME sector today is. Given the fact that you have a huge lot of opportunities that we find are coming in the way of Indian SMEs from international markets. And for getting to international markets, they need to be, I would say, technology savvy, using technology and, in order to move forward.
Right. And Prakash, you've worked in some of those international markets, at least in the Southeast Asian region, in the SME segment. When you compare the Indian SME sector with, say, the SME segments of Malaysia or Singapore, how would you rate it? First, in terms of basic PC penetration as well as literacy, and second, how big is the opportunity for you here in India?
I would try and answer the second question first. What's the opportunity? If you really think about it from a technology point of view, technology is a great leveler. It bridges the divide, and now you have an opportunity for a very small company to go compete with very large incumbents. The other way around is also true. If you're not invested in technology, you can be disrupted. Your business can be disrupted. And cloud or mobility are kind of solutions which, if you really adopt, you can actually bridge that divide very significantly. So you can offer CRM solutions or accounting solutions. Many other solutions today for the SMEs are available on the cloud. Right. That being said, when you look at the infrastructure that is needed to run the cloud solutions, let me compare India, the research that we did. 11 million SMEs in India, about 40% of them do not have a PC. And even within the 6.9 million that have a PC, close to 5 million are over 4 years old. So you have an infrastructure within a sub-segment of SMEs, which is small, but that's aging.
Right.
And it's a big issue because with an aging infrastructure, you can't leverage or take advantage of all the solutions and benefits of cloud, mobility, and everything that the technology can really offer.
Okay, so massive opportunity, but let's also talk about the challenges that the SME sector in India faces. What are those barriers to adoption of technology? Pritesh, one of them is cost, right? The first thing that a small enterprise thinks about is how big is the investment? How much of money do I have to put into the technology? And you're offering some incredible solutions to SME owners. Has that mindset evolved over the years, or is the SME entrepreneur still very, very penny wise?
See, cost comes second. To be very honest, cost comes second. The most important is the proposition you are doing to him across the table. So the most important is the SMEs want conversation to happen across the table where he can understand, and the hand-holding. After the deal has been cracked or you engage with him, then the hand-holding, and this actually the cost is.
All right. Mr. Khattar, the other thing about technology is that it keeps evolving at a very fast pace. So for an SME, one investment in technology in the first go is difficult enough, and then one has to keep pace with it. One of the challenges there is to acquire and retain manpower and skilled talent to run that whole technology. So given that SMEs cannot afford very highly skilled manpower because they prefer to work for better salaries with better brands, what's your advice to the SME sector on getting around this challenge?
Let's look at the problems of SMEs. Major buyers are not giving them money on time. They have a local ease of doing business. They are doing cash, not because they need money, but they also have to give money. So all these things are there. And look at the wind up, how many of them are winding up annually.
Right.
So I think that's an area where we need to tackle. And for that, we need to discuss to the state governments, to the OEMs and all. Having said that, answering your question, manpower, skilled manpower, where do we have? We saw it in GST. How much difficulty people had in getting their registration done. Our skilled manpower is not there. So SMEs, instead of computer, they employ more people. They feel that that's much better doing it. So there is a huge divide in the various categories of it, which we need to sort it out. But more important is enable them, facilitate them, educate them, as he's saying,
Right.
that it is in their interest, provide them hand-holding. A combination of things are required before we can make a
Right.
progress.
So you rightly said there is a huge divide, and Hemendra, if I can ask you to jump in here, on the awareness front, as far as the SME sector is concerned, how would you say it has evolved in the last 5 to 7 years? That's the time we have seen a sort of technology outburst happening across the globe. So how would you rate the Indian SME sector on awareness, and are they far more open to change now than they were, say, a decade ago?
Yeah, I'm very optimistic about the way SME space is evolving in terms of adoption of technology. And I would say there are two key drivers. One is cost and second is access. So just to give an example, if you look at cost of a 3D printer, in about 10 years back, it used to cost something like $40,000. Now it costs about $100. So the cost of technology per se has come down. Second, I would say even access of technology. So I will give you one example. If you look at one large segment of SME is our mom and pop grocery stores, right? Now on one hand they have a competition from e-com players, on another hand they have competition from modern trade, right? But I would still say they are extremely capital efficient, but they lack access in terms of what latest technology is available, which their competition have. So what I saw in last few years, many of them have gone and installed point of sale software. I think that's a great enabler. It's not a state-of-the-art science kind of technology, but just the access
But
of
the
technology.
awareness is growing.
And even a lot of POS players who are providing this to grocery stores, they could also subsidize because they can use the data for analytics
Right.
to sell it to likes of Levers or P&G or so many FMCG companies, because they typically don't have access to the last mile. So I think it's a kind of a win-win situation. So we have to adopt models which are which can enable the larger ecosystem.
Appropriate.
Right.
Yeah, appropriate.
You know, Prakash, earlier you were talking about aging computers and how they can really create a huge loss for the business, and what sort of PC investments and maintenance are necessary by SME owners?
If your PC infrastructure is 5 years or older, you are spending 1.87 lakhs maintaining every year, direct and indirect costs. You are 28% less productive if your PC infrastructure is 4 years or older. So data is absolutely correct in terms of lack of productivity. But I would absolutely agree with other panelists that we got to do as an industry better job of communicating the benefits to the SME as to why they need to invest in technology.
Let's head into a short break right now. On the other side, we'll talk about the multi-dimensional impact that technology adoption can create for a small or medium-scale business. Stay with us on CNBC TV 18 and Intel present Boost Your Business. Welcome back to CNBC TV 18 and Intel present Boost Your Business. According to NASSCOM, 30% of the estimated market growth by 2020 will be driven by SMAC. That's social, mobile, analytics and cloud, and SMEs are expected to play a leading role in adopting these because of the huge opportunities that they open up for increasing revenues, acquiring new customers and enhancing operational efficiencies. Prakash, in a world where we are talking of SMAC, where does the SME sector fit in, and how can SMAC put together really reduce costs for the SME entrepreneur, because that's the topmost agenda, frankly, for any small entrepreneur?
Like I mentioned, the deployment of technology moving to cloud has helped reduce the cost significantly. So I'm not too sure if you know, some of the startups today in India offer website creation services at close to 200 rupees every month. That's a recurring cost. And on top of that, you have pay-per-use models for infrastructure, PC infrastructure, or any other infrastructure that you would like to build on top of it to create a solution for the SMEs. So the cost of deployment has reduced. The opportunity is, if you utilize all of these solutions for increasing your competitive advantage, you can actually get ahead or leapfrog many of your competitors, small or big. So that's the way that SME should look at it in terms of upgrading the infrastructure, what benefit it offers. It offers them benefits to leapfrog or do much better than their competitors. PC, along with those solutions, can be a great source of competitive advantage for them. That's my opinion.
All right. And the other thing that technology really does, Hemendra, is accelerate innovation. So at Bharat Innovation Fund, what are the sort of case studies, what are the sort of examples that you've seen where technology has really sort of accelerated innovation in the SME space?
Yeah, so there are many examples. So if you look at any SME, there are three big cost components. One is power, second is water, third is labor. Now there are tools available which can potentially improve efficiency on all three fronts. I'll talk about power in particular, because that's a big cost component. So now there are sensors, they're available. There are IoT-enabled sensors which can measure power consumption minute by minute, you know. And it not only measures the consumption, but it also directs you to take some corrective measure if the consumption is going beyond a certain limit.
Right.
So even if it doesn't require any human intervention, even if I'm the owner of that SME and I'm in some other part of the world, I can on my mobile monitor what's the current status. And if you look at SMEs which are working on wafer thin margins, typically most of them have their EBITDA margins less than 10%. For them, even a 0.5% reduction in cost on any account is huge.
So, but eventually the SME entrepreneur really wants to see the impact on the bottom line. Yes. So, Pritesh, give us some examples of what technology has done for the bottom lines of companies that you've been working with. What's the sort of percentage increase that they've seen, and has that really transformed their mindset towards technology?
The way Mr. Gutta has said, we always work on the incremental model. wherein we started his inventory. Then we bought him on the mobile where he can even use app for his billing to someone. Then he can even connect with some of the loyal customers. So if you see, it is not less than like Lalaji's shop is becoming Flipkart. Okay, so we've been working with distribution majorly, wherein if you see, the most important cost is manpower, and the unpredictable manpower which will leave you in a minute, and you will stand in a TZ.
Right.
So there we worked with technology, and we've seen he became independent on that. He is not now today worried about if my person leave me, it will impact. And there are scenarios where people are actually taken collection away and they run away from his business. So that had happened. Currently he can see everything on his system itself. It took his time to adopt, but he adopted first the basic inventory, then he gone into the entire billing. Now today we connected the entire chain into mobile apps also. But yes, it took a lot of time to get into those POCs, because initial 25-50 clients we thought we are losing huge money because the entire manpower was involved. But today when we see a market like Mumbai, market like Delhi, market like Kolkata and all that, people has adopted, and that is actually added to their profits, and the overall productivity has gone up by at least 30%. That's the immediate impact which we are talking about, wherein the manpower was involved. So somewhere getting comforts with the technology. Another thing is getting comfort on his business. That's what the SME wants today.
Absolutely. Okay, so we are running out of time, so I'm going to ask each one of you for your technology tip to that SME entrepreneur who's watching this show and looking to perhaps begin on his technology or digital journey. Where should he or she begin?
I think we need to share at the ground level, to the last possible, success stories where with minimum of cost he had good return, and then upgrade it. Nothing like, we like to sell what we have. We need to sell what he wants. I think that is the approach that is required.
Okay, but from an SME's perspective, Prakash, if an entrepreneur is looking to start on the technology journey, where should he or she begin? Because often there's a whole host of choices and they're pretty confused on where to start.
The first step, in my view, is the acceptance of the fact that technology is needed. We are looking not too distant future, the country which would be single market with GST getting implemented, and as an SME you can scale really fast with technology. So that's the first step. The second step would be Intel, along with our partners, are doing a set of engagements. So please get engaged, and we would love to come and have a conversation with you on why technology can help your business, and that's the way forward.
And help you boost your business.
Absolutely.
Hemendra?
Yeah, so most of the SMEs in India are family-owned businesses. The first thing I would advise them is to speak to their sons and daughters who are typically digitally more literate and probably can tell the pros and cons of adopting any technology. I think that's first and foremost. Second advice would be that, fortunately we are into era where a lot of technology are available on pay-per-use sort of, model. So you need not incur a huge amount of upfront cost just to try out. So you can variabilize a lot of these costs.
Capex is not that high.
Yeah, so do, convert Capex into OPEX wherever it's possible and see if it works for you. If it doesn't, let it go.
Vinod?
Well, I'd like to add on what Prakash said. Each one of you SMEs out there, you need to have ways and means of scaling your business quickly. For doing that, you need to bring in technology. If you're unable to do that, somebody newer, somebody who's setting up a startup will come over, set up that and overtake your business, and 5 years down the line you'll be nowhere. So it's high time you get onto the line, figure out what works for your business, put in that process in place and move forward.
All right. Pritesh, last word.
I varies because there are three people I believe who contributes for any decision for adoption. One is the most influential person in the fraternity always, who has adopted technology. So the first thing SME do is go and talk to him. That's the way it happens. Second is the chartered accountant who acts as a business consultant also to him. So second person is him whom we can actually connect. And third one, the IT guy, where he must have bought some laptop, some desktop, and he's the one who can help him to bring from Chopri to computer. So I think these three people contribute a lot. The only thing is, I believe hardware, even the SME forums and company like us, should come on forum and educate these people, these three of them. The reason is, if they advise him wisely, then he can adopt it well, and then I think that can speed up also. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, gentlemen. It's been a pleasure talking to all of you. Thanks for joining us on the show today. Well, SMEs are constantly in a competitive bid to be faster, more affordable and better than their peers as well as large-scale businesses. Needless to say, technology can help them catalyze growth and achieve scale along with speed. Hope you enjoyed those valuable insights. Thanks for joining us. Until next time, it's goodbye.